too many off-road games out there, do we, Roger Warren, who's joining me in the commentary box for this second MX2 race?
For sure. We've seen a promo of it, and the graphics are superb, and everything's up to date on that one. So check that out. Mud is the name. It's really good. But, well, this, Paul, is the one I've been looking forward to all weekend. The MX2 race there. And a who's who of world MX2 riders is here. Just look at the top qualified. Blake Baggett was on pole position this morning, the American, on a 139.6, just 1/10 in front of Ken Roczen, complete with gold-painted crash helmet this weekend. The newly crowned world champion, of course, Roczen riding for Team Germany with a 39.7. Then Marvin Musquin, a lot of pressure on Musquin this weekend. Been injured most of the year, but third place in America last weekend, so he's back on form. Dean Wilson, now that's the big question this weekend. Dean Wilson, double victory in America last week, but injured his right wrist, and he has been seen most of the weekend with a large ice pack on that wrist. So we really don't know what sort of fitness Dean Wilson is in. Joel Rollins for Team Belgium was in 5th, in front of Alessandro Lupino for Team Italy on the 2012 breathed-on, blinged-up Husqvarna machine. So a brilliant result for Lupino. Matt Moss for Team Australia was in 9th. And, well, that's all the top hitters here, and this is anybody's guess, this race, for sure.
And if you're wondering why the names not adding up to the names on the top of the list, don't worry. Marek Sukup, the Czech Republic rider, wasn't on pole position. That's the order in which the riders go to the line. Of course, the names of the teams were pulled out by ballot at the start of the morning, around about 9 o'clock this morning. And look at Ken Roczen there, just getting himself psyched up right in the centre of the screen. So as Czech Republic went to the line first, from Portugal, Greece, Ukraine, USA with gate pick 5, then Ireland, Austria, Italy, Belgium, Latvia, then Iceland, Switzerland, France. Looking a bit further down, Germany with 20, Russia 22, Australia and Great Britain 23, 24. The Swedes were 27, New Zealand and the Netherlands were 29 and 30. As the Irish are in town, there'll be lots of the black stuff drunk this weekend. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. And, well, Republic of South Africa, not a great gate pick for them. Shannon Terra Blanchard, the MX2 rider, down with the 33rd gate pick. So, well, he'll be looking at coming across from the left-hand side, the right-hand side as we look at it. But as you said a moment ago, Roger, Blake Baggett, only 700ths quicker than Ken Roczen. He did 17 laps, Roczen did 16, Marvin Musquin did 18 laps and was 1.5 seconds down. But I think he'd already put in a good lap before then anyway, before he wanted to go after the likes of Baggett and Roczen. Dean Wilson, the big question mark there, a couple seconds down on the front three. Then Joel Roulance, Lupino, Rauschnecker, Tonkov, and as we said, Shannon Terra Blanche. And the good result for South Africa really does hinge on performances from him, you feel, this weekend. Of course, he's got Gareth Swanepoel and Tyler Rattray in the Open class and the MX1 class, respectively.
That is the case with a lot of teams in the Motocross of Nations. A lot have 2 good riders, but very few have 3. So that is the case with a lot of teams. But going back to Blake Baggett, well, it's his first time out of America, and he was completely blown away by the scene, by the crowd, by the noise and everything yesterday.
We're under starters orders, well and truly. The Monster Energy 15-second board goes up. Remember, this is the second qualifying race of the afternoon. It's MX2, and they are here for one rider only. The majority of that crowd is going to be Marvin Musquin. He's back in from America just for this race. And there's Ken Roczen right in the center of the start line. He gets a good jump. And is he going to come across? He hangs off the back of that bike, but it's Marvin Musquin, and it's a Kawasaki. It looks like it might be Blake Baggett. So up the hill we go. It's number 2, the red plate. Blake Baggett from Pascal Rauschnecker, the young Austrian rider. Then it looked like Stefan Olsson on the blue Yamaha from Sweden in 3rd. And we've got a Suzuki coming down the hill. Now jumping into 3rd position, Jeremy Sewer of Switzerland, that is.
Yes, Sewer, the European MX2 class rider, the youngster who's been doing the European series this year and doing pretty good.
Well, a quick pull of the tail off there. Over the line they come then. It's Blake Baggett, Rauschnecker, Olsen, Jeremy Sewer, Ken Roczen 5th, Musquin 6th, Lupino, Roulance, Wilson. They are your top runners. And then it's Bastemeyer, Soderberg. We've got stones rattling off the side of our TV truck here right alongside the finish line area. And we've got Bastemeyer, Soderberg, Edmonds, Alberto for Portugal, Geiser, Tonkov, Terra Blanche. And who's gone down there? The 29, Tommy Weeks. And he looks like he's limping as well as he picks himself up. Matt Moss, the Australian, down in 19th place. Anybody else on our second timing screen as we're on board with Marvin Muscat, Britt Retzap, Evan Havey, the Norwegian. That's Stefan Olsson, another European MX2 rider, just ahead of Marvin Muscat. Everybody else through, though, inside the top 20, as we'd expect to be. The Italian, Lupino, getting hung up on that left-hander at the bottom of the hill. Roxon nicely over the top of the hill. And there is Roxon there, number 8. Jumping his way in behind the guy on the red, the 35 of Pascal Rauschenegger. So he's there in second position. Both these guys having found a way past the Yamaha of Stefan Olsson as Roxon goes through. But look at the gap that Blake Baggett already has over Roxon. It's almost the length of the start-finish straight as they come down towards the first corner to complete almost their first lap. Roger Warren.
Free practice this morning. It was Roxon on pole position for the majority of the session, and it looked to be it was going to stay that way. But then Blake Baggett went out right at the end of the session and pulled one right out of the bag and put himself on pole. And yet again, the Americans have got the start, which is so crucial because, as Paul said, these races considerably shorter than the ones we'll have tomorrow. So it is a short sprint race, and he's out there.
Well, the interesting thing now is as they come over the line to complete their first lap, the gap between Blake Baggett and Ken Roxon, 2.4 seconds on the opening lap. Of course, we'll keep an eye on that. Then we've got Rauschenegger, Olsson. There is Joel Roulox, number 5, and that's Lupino knocking his way up the inside of Jeremy Stewart for 8th position. Stuart Edmonds from Ireland down in 10th place. So the Irish are really going to get behind them, especially after the result from Martin Barr, where he got 17th in the first race after picking himself up off the deck on the opening lap. But down at the bottom of the hill, there is Martin Barr in that blue TM. Stuart Edmonds.
Stuart Edmonds, of course, who's been racing a lot of classes in the UK this year on the TM, 4-stroke and 2-stroke, so he's really on the case, but a good start for him. But Alessandro Lupino, again, well, he was predicted to be Tony Caroni's successor a year or two ago and has been on the team for a long time, never really got it together, and when he joined Husqvarna, well, there was a few eyebrows raised this year, but now back on. Dean Wilson moved up to 6th place for Team Great Britain behind Marvin Muscat, still in 5th.
You see that freight train just at the head of the wave section there, headed by this guy here, Pascal Rauschenegger, the young Austrian kid, and then we've got Olsson and then Marvin Muscat, and then Dean Wilson just coming off the back there on that green Kawasaki as he pulls out to the right-hand side. He's got Joel Roulox behind him, Jeremy Stewart, Alex Lupino, Stuart Evans, and Donny Bastemeyer, who won a round of the European MX2 Championship this year, ahead of Tim Geiser, another kid used to winning 125 European races, running an MX2 bike for Slovenia this weekend. Matt Moss, a good opening lap from him, down from 20th place up to 13th in that first lap, and he could be a crucial ingredient, a crucial rider when it comes to Australia, maybe or maybe not getting on the podium come Sunday night, Roger.
I'll tell you what's showing up already, Paul, just 2 races into the weekend, is how crucial the start is, because the Americans have gone out of the gate, and if you don't make the start...
Roxon. We've lost Roxon. Roxon's down in 7th position. Pascal Rauschenegger is 2nd, so Ken Roxon, that was 2.4 seconds down on the opening lap, has gone down somewhere out on the track, and where is he now in relation to this group? Wilson down the outside there, nicely around the outside of the Swede, Stefan Olsson. And there was Roxon just at the bottom of the hill, so 3 or 4 positions down on Dean Wilson here, riding for Great Britain, number 11 on that green Kawasaki.
Roxon 7th, and so a slight slip.
Just behind Joel Roulox for Belgium. So he'll be kicking himself there, and I wonder if it's just trying a little bit too hard too soon to go after Blake Baggett, because of course we know Roxon going to the US next year. He would have wanted to have tried to get a result over him in the qualifying race, and of course you can't win anything in the first lap, you can lose it all, and Ken Roxon having to work extremely hard now for Team Germany as he fights with Joel Roulox to get back up on track at the top of the leaderboard.
And don't forget, the purpose of this race is qualification, but also grid position for tomorrow's races. So straight away at the moment, Baggett is on pole and Roxon is in 8th, the gate pick.
The young Q8 rider there at the bottom of the hill, already being lapped. Got no, well, his track position was a little bit off, but Abdullah Hamed Al-Rawai.
That's easy for you to say.
We won't go there. Al-Ruway. Maybe out of the way is what the riders were saying, but
probably.
There's Wilson, and he goes past Rauschenegger. Wow, that was close as he jumps his way down the inside of the young Austrian, and it's Baggett who's, well, Wilson now into 2nd position, surely.
I'll tell you what, though, if Wilson has got a problem with his wrist, this is not doing it any good, because that was a very rough landing that he took then.
Muscat is 2nd.
So there's the big hitters, Baggett, Musquin, Wilson, top three, and if Roczen can get in amongst that, then, well, we are in for a race.
And Ken Roczen struggling to find a way past Joel Roelants and Stefan Olsen as he goes around the outside to launch his way down. 42.8 personal best for Marvin Musquin. And, well, it's not quite the fastest lap of the race. That was Blake Baggett on the opening lap, hauling himself out of the blocks.
3 laps into the race and already Baggett 9 seconds clear.
Helped by, of course, the fact that Ken Roczen threw it away somewhere on the opening lap. We didn't see that anywhere out on track. As Roczen now looks to go around the outside. Well, this could be crucial for Ken Roczen in terms of trying to be creative in finding lines, because obviously when these guys are in with the MX1 and MX Open guys, both on 450s, as Roczen runs alongside Olsen now and easily finds a way through. Of course, they're going to have to find lines to avoid roost and gain momentum and all that kind of thing.
Stuart Edmonds has got himself inside the top 10 for Team Ireland.
And Matt Moss down in 10th place, or up to 10th position now. Just behind him is Jeremy Sewer, Donny Bastemeyer, Tim Geiser, Jose Boutron of Spain, and Prit Retsep, Paulo Alberto of Portugal, and then Ludwig Soderberg riding an MX2 ride this weekend on the Ice 1 Racing Kawasaki, normally from MX1. And then it's Davis Ivanovs, Evan Havey, and Marek Sukup. Look at the lead the American has got here. Well, the win here for Blake Baggett would mean that the Americans would be the fastest qualifiers. And we're on board a very loud KTM of Marvin Musquin that's coming right through our headset. And that right-hander.
Is that an exhaust not sounding right? It doesn't sound, that sounds too loud.
It sounds very loud. But maybe it's just magnified from our...
That'll be a brave official who pulls him in, that's for sure.
Well, obviously what we're hearing, normally we don't hear it that loud when we're on board, but like you say, Roger Warren, oh, we've got the 17 goes down, that's Matt Moss.
Matt Moss.
And he's collided with the 44 of Prit Retsep. So Matt Moss, who was, well, was already going down the leaderboard because he's not there, look, going over the finish line. But we've still got a deafening sound of that KTM of Marvin Musquin ringing through our headsets here. Hope we don't get that for the next 11 minutes and 40 seconds. But there is Marvin Musquin. And I tell you what, Dean Wilson closing in all over the back of the French KTM rider. It's a good ride for Dean Wilson.
Well, we'll soon see whether Musquin has got a problem or not when we get the last lap time coming through. But, well, it does sound now. But Wilson, good solid ride from Wilson.
Well, the thing is, if he has got a problem with that silencer, Marvin Musquin, he's going to have to come in and get it fixed. Otherwise, there will be a time penalty.
Oh, the crowd will not be happy with that.
Just put your head outside, Rog, just to see if it is actually translating out, if you don't mind. Because he's going to be coming right down by us any moment now. And Blake Baggett continues to lead here, 8 seconds clear of Marvin Musquin. Dean Wilson is third, Rashonecker fourth. This is a battle for second position between the KTM of Marvin Musquin and the Kawasaki of Dean Wilson. And they're second and third over the line now. So it was a 142.8, 141.7. Roger Warren just coming back into our commentary booth here alongside the finish line area. Dean Wilson, is it loud?
Quick sound check. No, it's perfect. Nothing wrong with it at all.
So obviously we need to get rid of that sound then coming through our ears from the onboard camera then, Giorgio, if you're listening. Thank you. Because we are certainly being deafened by this silencer of Marvin Musquin.
You say deafened, it was difficult to hear the sound of the bikes over the sound of the crowd, which were urging Musquin on.
Well, I can't hear you, and you're stood right next to me. So, well, Dean Wilson third, Rashonecker fourth, Roczen fifth now. As this race drawing towards the halfway stage. And we're looking a little bit further down the order. Here's Ken Roczen all over the back of Pascal Rashonecker. As they battle over fourth position. Ken Roczen there in fifth. Oh, Rashonecker goes down. He goes down through that right-hander just before he drops down the hill. Olsen goes through, so too does Lupino. And Rashonecker then, he's going to lose a few positions in that little trade-off. So Roczen then an easy passage through in the end. Watch this, front end just folds on Rashonecker, goes down, and Roczen goes through. Roulance goes through as well. So wait for the guys to come back over the line again then. And with, what, 6 laps complete, Blake Baggett's lead at the head of the field, 10.2 seconds. And it's Dean Wilson in third position. This is that battle for second here. The Frenchman, Marvin Musquin, and the Kawasaki of Dean Wilson there. The green machine, number 11, in that blue clothing. Then we have Roxon about 6 seconds further back. Roulance is 5th, Lupino 6th, Olsen 7, Rauschenecker 8th now. So it was expensive for the Austrian. Stuart Edmonds hanging on bravely for 9th place for Team Ireland. And Jeremy Sewer, that would be 10th place for them. And dare I say it, Roger Warren, but Stuart Edmonds in 9th and Martin Barr in 17th. That might just see them through, you know.
Oh, no. The B final wouldn't be the same without Team Ireland, it has to be said. So let's everything crossed that they can get through cleanly this time and only have to race the normal races on Sunday. But lap times is incredible. Straight away, every lap, Blake Baggett is nearly a second quicker than the rest. Marvin Musquin and Dean Wilson may be slowing each other up, but Roxon, he's the one who's got through to 4th place, but his last lap time, let's have a look, 1:43.3, so he is in traffic, but it's all about Baggett at the moment.
Yeah, Donny Bastemeyer just looking further down. There's a Kiwi going through. And the Kiwi there, John Phillips for New Zealand, riding number 23, looking to see where he is. He's not inside the top 20, is he? No, just outside in 25th place. But Marvin Musquin, well, we're back on board, but it sounds like we've been on board with him. We never left him, Roger. So, Dean Wilson, has he gone through into 2nd position? We've got Blake Baggett leading. And Musquin still there, ahead of Wilson, who's now losing a couple of seconds to Wilson.
Solid ride from Lupino on that Husqvarna. Well, they really have got that right. They, in fact, missed a GP or two. They didn't go to Great Britain, the Husqvarna team, because they wanted to dial in the 2012 machine. And they've come back really strong. Good ride in Italy last week and here again today. Yeah,
Christmas came early for them. Delivered the 2012 factory bike with, well, what they were testing at when they should have been at the British Grand Prix was the GET electrics and new electronic systems there. And obviously it's working very, very well for Lupino at the moment, who's down there in 6th position. Stick that with Cairoli's 2nd place. That'll be Italians through, definitely. Of course, they've still got one race to go, one rider to go, and that'll be Davide Guarnieri.
Who was quickest in MX2 qualifying this morning for a long period of time. So
until Villapoto went about 2 seconds quicker than anybody.
Yeah, just about a tad, yeah.
So, Lupino 6, Olsen 7, Rauschenecker 8, Edmonds 9 for Ireland, Bastemeyer 10, Sewer is 11, Geiser 12, Butron 13, Alberto 14, Soderberg, Heiby for Norway, Ivanovs, Tomkov down there. That could, well, obviously with Bobashev's, what, 6th, 8th position in motor number 1 and the 18th for Tomkov in this 2nd race. He did start quite well up there, but
again, they've only got 2 quality riders. It's the 3rd rider who's going to be crucial.
Sergei Ostakin. Who's this going down? Oh, Rauschenecker again, is it? Just ahead of Olsen. No, back marker, sorry. The 89, so Ethor Renison of Iceland. But Marvin Musquin, he's weathered the storm that's been thrown at him from Dean Wilson, and there you see that gap just opening up just a little bit.
Well, that's the race. Now we're counting down, just 5 minutes left to go in this MX2 qualifier. And, well, Baggett, it's, well, he's been away and gone right since that first turn. As we say, a lot of questions were asked about him. He's been a bit up and down in the US Outdoor Series, if any of you have watched it this year. He's either been so much faster than anybody or unpredictable. Well, he is first time out of the US at the moment, and he's right on the case. America yet again on a 1-1 score as we speak. But the French are in there. Musquin 2nd. Dean Wilson, well, we were worried about Dean. Very worried about how strong his wrist was. He's holding up. He doesn't need to get any further. 3rd place is good enough for that one, that's for sure. So Wilson running 3rd. Roxon, solid 4th, which again is going to get him a good position on the gate for tomorrow. That's what counts, is these boys are going to be there. Stuart Edmonds still in 9th for Team Ireland, so at the moment those boys are coming in. Just 4 minutes left to run now as we saw Ken Roxon go through in 4th place. As Paul said, maybe trying just a bit too hard. He will be racing against Blake Baggett next year, don't forget, when he goes full-time into the US onto their series, riding for Team KTM. There is Roxon. But no, I beg your pardon, it's not. As the rest of the riders go through the team colours this weekend, numbers, they are all over the place, as you can see for yourself. Joe Rollins, that is for Team Belgian. But back on board, as you can see and hear, with Marvin Musquin in second position. Well, the crowd a bit subdued now. They wanted wins today, but I'm sure they'll be happy, and the massive turnout that we'll get tomorrow will be behind Team France at the moment.
Yeah, and the flag's waving every inch of the circuit here for Marvin Musquin. Remember, a double race winner here in 2010. So he knows his place pretty well, and he got a lot of support then. He's going to get even more this weekend, because obviously the French have a lot of decent riders to choose from. Of course, one of them being Stephen Frossard, not here. It's Paul Sal who's in for him, of course. Gauthier Paulin, though, stepping up from the MX2 category. That's why we're looking at Marvin Musquin just a moment ago. But Blake Baggett, look at that, 10 seconds clear. He was pleased. I was talking to Roger DeCosta in our live show on MX Live, sometime between 2 and 4 o'clock this afternoon, 12 and 2 this afternoon. And they were pretty much saying, look at that, the bike buster, the handguard hanging off the side of the bike there from Blake Baggett. That'll be a bit of a distraction for him.
Must have clipped a post somewhere.
Maybe the screws come out, something like that. Americans probably not used to riding bike busters, as they call them, but handguards over here in Europe. But he was saying that it was decent of him to get that time early on, and that settled him down a little bit. And obviously coming here with a race win in a qualifying race, of course, 2.5 minutes to go. He'll be more than pleased and more than relaxed, and he'll be right into his stride come Sunday.
Team Pro Circuit Kawasaki, of course, here en masse this weekend. Mitch Payton and his crew, and they're currently running 1 and 3 with Baggett and Wilson. Tyler Rattray, the third member of the team, riding the 450 this weekend, of course,
in the Open.
For Team South Africa in the Open class. So the full team are here at the moment, but well, Musquin.
Oh, mistake there from Wilson. And we heard the groan there of the crowd coming out of that corner. Well, that's going to let in Ken Roczen. And how uncomfortable is that going to be for Dean Wilson? Because it looked as he came out of there and he got cross-rutted, that left wrist of his. And he's already losing time there, 1:47. Well, that was a mistake there in that corner at the bottom of the hill. Maybe we might see a slow-mo of that, but when he got pitched out of the rut there like that, that would have taken its toll on that wrist. And Kenny Roczen now looking at going into third position with about 3 or 4 laps to go. Different line there from Roczen, gains that momentum, drops in from the midpoint of that berm. And up and over the tabletop there, Wilson not able to get over that. And again, Wilson, is he getting over the top of the hill? Yeah, well, that's a heavy landing anyway, all the way down there.
That's what I was saying. There's a lot of heavy landings he's having on that wrist, so it's taken a lot of punishment today.
Obviously, you can minimise that by landing on the downsides where there are downsides, but even from up there, landing on the downside on that Rebutizer or Pastrana's downhill leap, it's still going to take it out of that wrist. The front forks on these bikes are going to be set right up, and that's the Q80 there just being lapped again in the background. There's the other rider there, the 83 of
Roczen got completely held up there. He just, the Q80 just looked over his shoulder.
That wasn't him. That was the other guy that's just as fast. And was it the 83? Nerjus Rukstela from Lithuania.
Mr. R. Odblock, I think, is probably another name for him. And Roczen very nearly got caught out by that one.
Well, the good news is we're not going to be seeing too much of them in the race tomorrow. So
that's right. It'll be less of a problem tomorrow with the lap riders, because only the qualifiers would have got through.
But Ken Roczen, if he does get the third position, in the remaining 3 laps?
Well, it's helped Dean Wilson, of course, because Wilson has now pulled a crucial couple of laps with, well, they will get 2 laps to go aboard this time.
So Roczen then, 11 laps complete. Just like Blake Baggett, Marvin Musquin and Dean Wilson ahead of him. And it'll be interesting to see if we have any footage of Roczen going down. I think if we had have seen it go down anywhere, would have seen the slow-mo footage or the replay footage by now. And it's interesting that, you know, a rider of Roczen's caliber wasn't being picked up at that moment in time. And fastest lap though, Dean Wilson, 1:41.6. That was, of course, on lap 4. But we're a little bit further into the race though.
He'll take confidence from that, I'm sure.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, not wanting to sound downbeat or anything else, a fast lap doesn't win a race, and it depends on that wrist injury. There's Marvin Musquin.
I'm trying to sound positive here now.
Yeah, I know. Marvin Musquin, though, he's had a great ride. He was down in about that 5th or 6th position. He's had a couple of things go his way, but he's had to make a couple of passes as well. and he's been able to do that successfully to get himself into second. Of course, he was helped by the fact that Roczen was on the deck when he got to third place, ahead of Donny Bastemeyer. But he'll be feeling good, Blake Baggett. And time again, we see it, don't we, Roger Warren, from the Americans, I don't want to say dominance because, you know, it's not always the case, but the consistency, it's a confident performance.
Well, normally, sometimes on a Saturday, they don't dominate, and we all say, oh, the Americans, they don't look good, but it's on Sunday, the race day, that they normally pull it out. But at the moment, this 1-1, and this is really going to settle Baggett's nerves for sure. He's going to go in full of confidence into tomorrow.
I think he was settled after practice, and once he came around turn 1 in first place, second place, I think he's just basically said, right, that's me done, not going to look back.
So they're 1-1 at the moment, and they've got Ryan Villapoto coming up in the open class race.
Yeah, that's not a bad problem to have, is
No, that's not a bad position, is it? No wonder Roger de Costa's got no grey hairs.
Well, I said to him in the live show, you know, what's it like actually, you know, from a rider's point of view when he was a rider for the nations in Belgium, and then what's it like, you know, managing? And he said, well, actually, my job's easier than the riders because, you know, he's got great riders out there and they all know what they've got to do. They've just got to go out and race. And he just comes into it in, you know, in the strategy side of things. There's Alex Lupino. He's in 6th position, the Italian, backing up that second place finish from Tony Cairoli in that MX1 race just a moment ago. And well, he's also going to be quite relaxed as we head towards the end of this race and on towards Sunday morning, which is when this race action is going to kick off. That's the number 5, Joel Roulants. He's in 5th place.
Yeah, he's the on board.
And so,
and they didn't change.
Anyway,
still out.
Joel Roulants. Got Dean Wilson in 3rd, Roczen 4th. There's Joel Roulants with Belgium in 5th. As we said at the start of the program, Team Belgium somewhat depleted in terms of no De Salle, no Ramon, no De Dijker in the bigger classes. No doubt about who the MX2 rider was going to be, though. And it was always going to be Joel Roulants or Jeremy van der Hoornbeek, depending on how he recovered from his injury. But once he got injured again, well, that was an easy decision to make. And Joel Roulants a good rider to have on your team and doing a good job for Team Belgium here in this qualifying race. Of course, his teammate, Marvin van Daal in MX1, came home in 16th position. And we will, of course, give you some indication as to how these riders are placed when the checkered flag goes out in terms of their overall classification and how important that 3rd qualifying race is going to be in MX1. But certainly no problems for Ken Roczen on a personal basis. But who have we got? Marcus Schiffer still to come for him in the open category. He was a good rider for him last year. In fact, he was their anchorman last year, Marcus Schiffer. It was his results in the final moto that made the difference between them getting on the podium and the Brits getting on the podium. Just 1 point separating Germany from Great Britain in Colorado last year.
Well, Blake Baggett's going to be happy. Marvin Musquin's going to be reasonably happy. And Dean Wilson, well, I'm sure he and the British team will be very happy because it looked dodgy this morning. But will he hang on to 3rd place? We're on the last lap, the last couple of turns. And Roczen is fighting for that 3rd position. But this is it, the last turn we're coming into now. And Dean Wilson, well, credit to him. His wrist is hurting badly. But 3rd place for him. Blake Baggett, where he's been the whole race.
Yeah, just behind we saw Marvin Musquin there in 2nd, but Wilson and Roczen going for it in that 3rd place. Of course, it's not necessarily for an overall podium position here, but obviously the higher you go, you don't know what's going to happen in the next race in terms of your next teammate coming through, whether they scratch or whether they score. But no doubt about it, the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki rider from USA, Blake Baggett, he'll be relieved that he's taken the checkered flag. Marvin Musquin goes 2nd, and this is for 3rd place. Dean Wilson hangs on bravely with that bad wrist of his on that left hand ahead of Ken Roczen. And Roczen will be disappointed with that 4th position, because he crashed whilst in 2nd position whilst going for Blake Baggett early on. But Marvin Musquin looks saluting the crowd. He's turned around on the tabletop just in front of the French fountain. He's trying to get everybody G'd up. And, well, he's doing a great job. It's a nice little bit of PR there from Marvin Musquin. Roger Warren.
Yeah, trust me, they don't need G'ing up this crowd. They are really, really up for it this weekend. They fully expect to win. Well, there we go. The man with the easy job, Roger de Costa, team manager of Team USA yet again there. Sees his man come in. A 1-1 perfect score so far for Team USA. And as we say, Ryan Villapoto coming up in the open class. So could they go clean score on the first day? Well, it's entirely possible. Dean Wilson, though, well, there's Marvin Musquin with the onboard camera. So Musquin could have gone horribly wrong when he went down or lost, didn't get the start and was in the top 6, but got through to second place. Baggett was already gone by then, so he wasn't ever going to catch him, but a solid second place. Gauthier Paulin will be the third member of the French team to come into the open class, but Joe Rollins was in 5th place for Belgium, Lupino for Italy in 6th, and Rauschenecker, Olsen, Boutron and Stuart Edmonds held on for 10th place for Team Ireland. So at the moment they are in. Jeremy Seaver and Tim Geiser, the 2 European MX2 class youngsters, finished 13th and 14th, just in front of Prit, Rapsep and Soderberg going through. But, well, there we go. Even off, the Russian finished in 20th place.
I'm just looking at the result there from Donny Bastemeyer in 11th to go with Heron Brekker, the Netherlands, in the MX1 race. Of course, he qualified in 18th position. They've got a very good rider in MX Open coming up. Of course, Jeffrey Hurling's riding a 350, set the second fastest time, I believe. We'll check that again in a moment, but he's going to be looking forward to that, and that might just lift the Dutch.
Hurlings did crash, though. He went through the fence shortly after setting that fastest time, and he was being attended to for ribs damage. So we're not sure how badly he was affected. He did crash through the fencing just by pit lane shortly after that second place qualifying time. So really not sure what state Hurlings is in at the moment.
Just looking down there, Tonkov was 14th.
Dean Wilson fastest lap with 1:41.6. But look, you can see, look at the flags there. Every nationality is covered.
Okay. Official confirmation then, no doubt about it, from his point of view. Blake Baggett for the Team USA ahead in the end, as he was pretty much from the first turn. He was victorious from Marvin Musquin, Dean Wilson, Ken Robson, Joe Roulance and Alessandro Lupino with 6. Pascal Rauschenecker threw it away a couple of times. He ended up 7th ahead of Stefan Olsen, Boutron and Stuart Edmonds. A great ride for Team Ireland. Donny Bastemeyer was 11th ahead of Jeremy Seaver. Tim Geiser, Alex Tonkov, Prit Ratsep and Ludwig Soderberg. A good result for Team Finland. And then we had Ferreira de Lima, Evan Habe, Paolo Alberto and Davis Ivanovs. The Japanese rider Mihara, then Philip Bengtsson and John Phillips for Sweden and New Zealand. Tommy Week picked himself up from that first lap crash to get to 26th, and Matt Moss didn't finish down in 31st place for Team Australia. So a little bit of pressure on Brett Metcalf in the next race. Let's go down to our race winner with Georgia.
Congratulations, Blake Baggett. You got your 2nd pole position now for Team USA. You got the whole shot and you took that race away.
Yeah, definitely probably the best start of my life, and can't ask for a better time, you know, representing the USA. That I just can't ask for anything different. That was a perfect race for me. I felt like I was good all day, but I got to give it up to my team, Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Parts Unlimited, Vans, Volcom, Traxxas, SoCal Super Trucks, my trainer, Outlet Maker, my mom, my dad, my girlfriend, my sister, Brian Wilkinson, everybody that came with me. Spend a time of my life out here and try to get this thing wrapped up for Team USA.
Best of luck for tomorrow, Blake. Well done.
I think he ran out of either ran out of breath or ran out of sponsors there, because that was quite a big thank you list.
It's a bit rude he didn't mention us then.
He's never met you. He met me the other day, but obviously
everybody else.
Yeah, he needs us both to be there, I think. But a good ride for Blake Baggett. It was pretty much a dominant display from the American, and quite comfortable in the end as well over Marvin Musquin. But Marvin Musquin showing that he might be a threat in MX2. He's down there waiting to speak to us now.
Marvin Musquin, congratulations, 2nd place there. Back to Europe, back to your home crowd. Are you pleased with that 2nd place on that track?
Yeah, I'm happy for the 2nd place. I was a little bit shy on the start, and I was pretty on front, but I braked too early, and some guys passed me, and I was on the top 5. So I passed some riders, Ken Roxon crashed. I was second, and Baguette was, but always, already out front, and so yeah, I keep my second place, and the French fan was so crazy today, and I'm so happy to be here in France for the nation.
Congratulations, second place for tomorrow. Well done.
A bit rocky, so that's going to.
So a good ride then for Marvin Muscat, riding number 20 on that Red Bull KTM. He's looking forward, as are the French crowd, because they're through as well to the main event with Pourcel in the MX1 qualifying race, finishing 3rd. Marvin Muscat finishing 2nd. It's not looking too bad for the French either, looking for a podium, of course, on home soil at the very, very least. Well, 3rd in the race, in the qualifying race, hanging on bravely, was Dean Wilson.
Congratulations, Dean Wilson, 3rd place for qualifying there. Wasn't a great start for you, but you got through the pack. But what happened at the beginning?
Yeah, it was a shame we got 24th gate pick. Not as bad as last year we had last, but yeah, I didn't get the greatest start, and I was coming through the pack, and man, I just feel like I should have got around Marvin, but I made really bad mistakes, and I just really got bad arm pump, and I don't know, I'm kind of bummed out, but you know what, I'm just gonna take that and move on to tomorrow, and I think that was good for me and loosened me up, and I think I'll be good for tomorrow.
Excellent. Well, best of luck. Thanks, Dean.
So not the wrist then, just a little bit of arm pump for the Scot, riding for Great Britain, Dean Wilson.
That's good. That's good. Arm pump, you can get over, can't you?
Well, you can now get all that massaged out of the forearms and concentrate on tomorrow. And of course, all the riders will be pleased to get a day's riding under their belt. That'll be loosening them up for tomorrow as well. But Dean Wilson gets the better of Ken Roxon in the